Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about this new TypeScript feature, and I find it really useful, especially when I'm using my action creators in Redux. And it's the CONST assertion. So it's basically a way of casting your object to prevent type expansion. And let's think about Redux where you have your action creator. So normally when you want to have your action creator, let's say it's add name, and it takes a payload of ID, which is expected to be a number, and you have the type, which shouldn't change. So in this kind of situation, you could do something like this. Read only type should be add name. So it means this has to be add name and you can't reassign this. And this has to be a number, which shouldn't be reassigned, right? Which might be the functionality that you want. So when this returns a number, like when you're taking the payload and you get on add name, you shouldn't be able to do something like on add name dot type equals, you shouldn't be able to reassign it to anything. This shouldn't compile. So you say cannot assign to this, which is like good. So imagine if you have like another one, like maybe on delete, it means you have to create an interface for that, and that kind of like creates a lot of like redundancy, and you don't want that really. So const assertion to the rescue. So what you can do to just take care of that is we have our action creator, and you can kind of like just cast this. Let's take this off. And casting can be done in two ways in TypeScript. So you can say as const. So when you say as const, basically you're saying this should be read only. So this is not, before we do this, this would be type string, and this would be type number inferred. If we don't have an interface created for this, this will be inferred to be string, which means you can do something like on add name dot type equals something else. It doesn't complain because this is a string. But you want, in this kind of scenario, you want a very strict typing. So you can say as const. When you say as const, you're essentially saying you don't want this type to be extended. So you want this to be very strict, and you want this to be add name. And this is gonna be type the number that you're getting from this. So now you see it's complaining. You see it cannot assign to type because it is a read-only property. And let's say you're trying to do on add name dot id, trying to reassign to another number. This is also not gonna compile, which is a good thing. So another way you can also cast in TypeScript is by using this. So this also works in the same way, and I find this to be really useful in other scenarios also. You might also want to add like an array. Let's say you have an array, which is another thing you're taking in, and let's say you don't want this to change at all, and we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, if you have this also, you shouldn't be able to do on add name dot array dot push. You see, it's gonna complain, right? Push does not exist on read only. But let's take this off and let's see. You see, now it's compiling. So you don't want that. Also, one more thing you might want to like consider is, let's say you have these two actions and you need a union of this. Considering that we're using like const, we're not creating separate interfaces for like these two. If you want something like, for example, type name action types, right? Action types. One thing you can do, since we don't have interfaces for this, is infer the types from these two. So that a way to do that is to use the return type keyword, and you can infer from each of these. So this would be add name, and this should be type of add name, or let's just copy this. or delete name. So essentially we are like inferring the types from this or this, and this now you can use in your reducer when you want your action type. So keep that in mind. And something else I might want to show you is, normally in JavaScript you have const. If you're using, let's say you have this, right? Normally in JavaScript, it means you cannot reassign this. You can't say athlete is, let's say, Naomi. You cannot do this. So this means you cannot reassign this. And const is also doing the same thing, but now const extends to like objects and arrays. So if we change this to let, it means you can reassign it now. After this, you can reassign. But now if we say let and you cast this as const, this shouldn't be possible now. It's going to complain that you can't assign this to Mika. So essentially that is what const is doing. It is keeping the object constant. You can also do this. It's the same. And now we can extend this to objects. Let's say athlete is name Mika, age 99, country Finland. Okay. So in this kind of scenario, let's say you also have favorite numbers to be array. You have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you have this number. You can do something. Normally, you can do something like athlete.fav numbers. Let's change this back to const. Const doesn't prevent this. Like if you use the const keyword in JavaScript, it doesn't prevent this. So you can say favorite numbers dot push. This is still gonna work, right? Because it's const doesn't mean you can't change this, and same with the array. It doesn't mean you can't change any of these members in the object leader. You can also change the array. Const basically means you can reassign this, so you can't do something like athlete equals something else. That's but you can still change the reference, right? And in some situation, you might not want that. You might want this to remain constant. So in this kind of scenario, this type is gonna be type string. This is gonna be number. This is gonna be string, and this is gonna be array of number. Number, array of number. This is what this is. But in many cases, you just want this to be very strict. You don't want anyone to be able to change its name. You want the references to be also very strict. In this case, we can do athlete.name. We can reassign this to, let's say, Blaze. This is still going to work. But this is where const comes in handy. It's really, really nice feature. So you can just cast this as const. Okay, let's leave this as it was. So if I do like athlete dot name equals Blaze or anything really, you can't do a number. It's gonna complain because it expects this to be string. It's type string at this moment. That's what it's like. I'm playing from that. But you can do something like name is Blaze, right? And if you do something like this might not be something you want. In that scenario, you can, of course, you can write an interface for this. Interface athletes. Okay, and you have name to be Mika. You have age. Let's just delete this for now to make our lives easier. Age to be like 99. If you want it to be really strict, then fav numbers to be this. Let's just copy that, and you can do something like this athlete. Now it's gonna complain because it expects this to and this should be read only, read only, read only. But see, you have to write a lot of code just to achieve that basic functionality, and that is where const comes in handy. So with that, you can just basically, you can do casting in two ways. So you can say as const, and now the types of this is going to change to maker. It's going to be more strict. It's going to be stricter. Then this is going to be 99, and this is not just going to be array of number, but this number specifically, right? So this is going to be read only, read only, read only, right? It means you can't reassign anything here. You can't also do something like fav numbers dot push. This is not gonna you can't mutate the array, so this is gonna complain now. Another way you can do the casting is by just saying const, and this still works. And I think this is a really nice feature in TypeScript. I think TypeScript 3.4 or something. So you can also have your array. You have your array. You have 2, 3, 4. If you can also freeze this array, right? If you do this, you can do like object dot freeze. If you do this, it's gonna complain now, right? But I mean, with this feature now, you can basically just say as const. That is really beautiful. You can also do it this way. It's really beautiful. And again, that's it. I'll be coming with more videos, and that's it.